Assalamu alaikum everyone. I'm your instructor Sania Gilani and this is the subject of Rise of the Novel 18th and 19th Century. We are on our lecture number 17. Today's topic is Theme of Feminism in Hard Times by Charles Dickens. So, Charles Dickens, his work Hard Times was published in 1954. It weaves a story around the Industrial Revolution that led to dehumanization. This lecture focuses on analyzing and understanding Dickens' perception of women. Social evils against women during the 19th century can also be witnessed in his works, such as The Great Expectations, Oliver Twist, and Hard Times, the novel we are studying right now. These works by Dickens are classic examples of literature with traces of feminism from a male author. In this paper, we analyze the position of women as depicted in Hard Times. The Coketown model of Victorian values provides a condition wherein the female has to stay home and provide heaven to her husband and sons who work in the outside world. Women are excluded from political debates and matters of the outside world. They were confined in homes and deprived of education. It was a luxury for women to be educated. The main aim of this lecture lies in analyzing the characters and understanding their position in the society. Dickens, through his social novel Hard Times, raises a lot of questions, including the question on the position of women in the Victorian era. The industrialization period saw Dickens concerned over the rights of women in a male-dominated society. Through this novel, he introduces his characters whose fate is differently alike. His female characters describe the bad position of women during the 19th century. Charles Dickens himself portrays females in a very conventional setup that was prevalent in his time period, and his writings are an example of patriarchal setup. Domestic ideology or the cult of domesticity are often defined as a series of related ideas that characterize the family home because the particular domain is of the lady. This idealized the lady within the household, calling her the angel in house, because the center of spiritual and moral goodness are for the relatives from the perspective of women, which based these ideas within the belief that ladies were innately weaker both physically and intellectually, and fewer capable of taking care of themselves within the rough and tumultuous public sphere at the time. Thus, women needed constant protection. So, his portrayal is a little lackluster. This domestic ideology can be seen in his Hard Times. The social and economic conditions of the people of Coketown and the setting is an example of the Victorian model of grand gender differences, wherein women were considered as subordinate to men. The onset of industrialization paved way to the relegation of women. They were left alone in the four walls of their homes to think about the household and be dependent on their men in every sense possible. Charles Dickens fails miserably in creating a strong female protagonist. This failure of him itself sets the background of the conditions of women during the Victorian era. Mrs. Gradgrind is one such female figure in the novel who happens to be treated not as a person, rather as an object. Her triviality survives under her husband's system of facts and reason. The words feminine dormouse are used in the novel to depict Mrs. Gradgrind's personality as a person with least importance. Her presence can never be felt throughout the novel because she hardly has a presence. There is an evident account of domestic cult in the novel as well, where the reader never gets to know her first name because till the course of her death. In fact, you even do not know how she died. Her constant illness can be hooked to the fact that she failed to play the role of a true wife in the novel. Hence, the transparency in her character lingered with her. According to the Victorian morals, a woman needed to be devoted to her husband through unpaid domestic labor. She does not understand anything, but she still follows her husband blindly. This system found its roots in a woman's dependence on her husband for her financial needs. Louisa, the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Gradgrind, is Dickens' first female character who belongs to the ruling wealthy class of Coketown. It is evident from the novel that Louisa's social upbringing and elite way of life shaped her future. Her destiny was predetermined because of her societal background. She is raised upon uncovered realities throughout her life. Such childhood is the reason for disappointment in Louisa's life with regards to love and happiness. She is not allowed to feel. Her father never allowed her to use her heart to make any kind of decision. She married a man who was even more than twice her age. Therefore, the taste of human relations and their real emotions stays unknown to her. Her lack of interest for life and human relationships stems from the fact that she never had a chance to experience love herself. She never even had a chance to explore herself. This is evident when she replies that there is nothing, just some monotonous smoke which might be burnt into flames. These are direct quotes from Hard Times. It was basically said in as a remark to her father when he proposed her to marry one of his friends. She agreed to this proposal without a second of hesitation, as she didn't know what love in a marriage seemed like. She is an embodiment of the traditional role played by women who do not have any say in the matter of society. She only has the right to be Mr. Stepford's wife and follow his orders. The society puts social restraint on women to not think even for 1 second. They do not need to think for their own needs and subdue themselves to their husbands at all times. The kids are described with jaded sullenness. The main focus is on the girl, Louisa, to describe her face. There was a dissatisfaction on her face, but there still existed a kind of light. There is a description of her face as starved because there is no place for imagination but only facts and reasons. She could not even afford to fancy. This is how Charles Dickens portrays the expressions on the face of Louisa Gradgrind. God forbid if she does anything more than sitting quietly. The role of her as a woman is not interfere in the matters of men. Let them do the thinking and hence be satisfied in her place. There are fragments of Queen Victoria's reign that are visible in Charles Dickens' storytelling, where Louisa becomes the perfect example of a state of total emptiness. Because of this mindset of the society, the Victorian society denied any form of sexual feelings and emotions in women and restricted to the role of passive gender to a procreative one. The turning point in Louisa's character is seen when she meets James Harthouse. On meeting him, she finally realizes that all she had been missing, and this gives her strength to speak up in front of her husband. And in front of her father as well. She questions him and his values by asking if he gave him the life, then how could he take the little things from it which raised it from dead? But without these unappreciated things such as heart and soul, life would just be like death in a conscious state. Throughout the statement, she puts a step forward towards equality for women and the essentiality of changes in the society. As Mary Wollstonecraft mentions in her book, that women are treated as a kind of subordinate beings and not as a part of the human conscience and the human species. Another character in this novel who is extremely important from a feminist lens is Sissy Jupe. She is a member of the circus and is an embodiment of joy and happiness. Her character is known for spreading joy, not only limiting it to herself and her free will, makes her a unique character in the novel. Her joyous nature was the result of fairy tales she used to read to her father as a child. She is full of imagination and whimsy, something that is not appreciated in the Victorian society. Throughout her life, Sissy was surrounded by fancy and miles away from facts. It was difficult for her to fit into the world of reason owing to her sense of freedom. She was emotionally free in the rules of capitalists, as she is only a number in their eyes. The reason behind her rejection comes from the realization that she belongs to the lower class and is not one of their kinds, even though she lives with them. Her low self esteem is because she considers herself of no worth by calling herself stupid, just because she does not understand facts. But the capitalists would never understand that this girl is rich from the inside. She is extremely creative and full of emotional companionship and compassion. Richness does not come from the wealth one owns. Unlike the rest, Sissy Jupe's character is livelier and more enchanting because her life inside the circus gives her the freedom to think and have a mind of her own. Unlike Louisa, who is heard in the end, Sissy is heard throughout the novel. Charles Dickens, through this character, strikes a contrast between Sissy and Louisa and sets the example of the ideal characteristic that a woman should possess during the Victorian era. Her character damages the monotonous life of Coketown. The next female character is of a poor woman named Rachel. The only thing in her possession is a big heart and a pure soul. Her social status of a poor woman places her in the lowest strata of the society, hence, she is only considered a part of the factory. The characterization of Rachel proves that material wealth and possession have no worth in front of a human's nature and decency. She willingly endures the sacrifices in her statement. I came to do what little I could, Stephen. First, but for that she worked with me when we were both girls, and for that you courted her and married her when I was her friend. Irrespective of how it might hurt her and in what way it turns out to be bad for her, she thrives on the fact that she has to do good for others. She sacrifices the sacrifices that she survived throughout the story is her greatest virtue. Mr. Blackpool compares her to a heavenly angel by saying that she changed him and transformed him from bad to good, and this gesture of hers had indeed saved his soul. But Rachel asserts it to be wrong because, according to her, a poor person is not even regarded as human. She says that angels are not like her, as angels and working women are totally different. There's a gulf between them which can never be narrowed down. Dickens likely built Rachel's character on the outline of a saintly human as she persuades people to follow Christianity. She lives on the principles of forgiving and forgetting. She is the ideal Christian. Dickens encourages the readers to have faith and do good in life despite all the difficulties one has to face. Another minor character in the novel is Mrs. Sparsit. She comes from a high class society, but her aristocracy comes to no avail after the death of her husband. She is forced to look after herself by living as a mere houseworker. Her association with the corrupt upper class values prevents her from being a genuinely nice person. It prevents her from being regarded as an angel in the novel. She becomes the constant soft target for criticism and satire because of her job as a bank guard. This brings forth her masculine ambitions. The important themes of economic class and female incapacity are brought forth through her character. This relationship between class and gender divide has always been a matter of great concern in Dickens' novels. Critics have sought the reason behind the presence of a standardization of gender roles in his novels. A critic once analyzed in Dickens' novels that humans were used to him as mere symbols of an ideal working class. Dickens takes into account that the emergence of industrial periods led to many changes, some of which he tried to portray through his female characters. His social commentary on the position of women in light of Victorian era leads to inequality. Mechanization led to dehumanization. People lost their real self and based their life on facts and reason. Therefore, it proves the fact that intellect and emotions together constitute a human, and women were not exempt from them. Women were not portrayed in a decent light during the 19th century, and Charles Dickens was just portraying women as they were depicted in media at the time. So, while there are certain drawbacks to his portrayal, as a whole, Charles Dickens raised a lot of questions on how women should be treated, especially in a patriarchal society. In the next lecture, we are going to elaborate on this very topic but through a different lens. And till then, Allah Hafiz, and I hope you understood something. Thank you so much.